Hello there, everybody, and welcome to Harrah's Hoosier Park. Michael Chamberlain and Jacob Reinheimer here in the Dan Patch studio as we continue on the road to the Derby. And Jacob, we have a new step on the road to the Derby that we're going to be talking about this one.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty unique as we go to Colonial Downs for the Virginia Derby. $500,000 on the line, a mile and an eighth going one turn with that big, long Colonial Downs backstretch. So very, very unique race we're going to feature this week.
And you remember, they used to do harness racing back in the day. So, this is a very versatile track. And if I'm not mistaken, the turf course, which this race used to be run on when it was part of the turf season, is named after Secretariat. I believe it's a Secretariat turf course since he was a Virginia bred. The field here is going to be 10 entries. However, there has been reports that number 2, John Hancock, will scratch and run in the Louisiana Derby, which is yet to come. So we're going to have a field of 9, we do believe, for the Virginia Derby. No grade on the Virginia Derby, but Colonial Downs is owned by Churchill Downs, so I think that was a big factor in this horse race being part of the road to the Derby. Purse is $500,000. With that field of 9, Jacob, you've got the favorite is the 9-5 Bob Baffert entry Getaway Car, who's going to be in post position 5, but will be wearing the 6 saddle towel since John Hancock moves everybody in 1.
And I think that was a huge scratch of John Hancock. Yeah. I think on paper originally when this field came out, it looked very much to be a 2-horse race between John Hancock and Getaway Car. And I know you and I both going to go with Getaway Car on top as we take a look at our selections for this week. I expect him to be a big-time favorite in this field, coming off that win in the Sunland Derby last time out where he was dead game, got headed at the top of the stretch, fought back to win that Sunland Derby by a nose. Another one of these Bob Baffert horses that spent a lot of time out on the West Coast, making his way east for the first time this year, as Baffert's got a big contingent making their way towards Louisville this year.
You made a very interesting point at the start of the discussion, is that this is a one-turn mile and an eighth race. So, it's like we like to say that, a one-turn mile is like an elongated sprint. Mm-hmm. This is in that territory where it's kind of an elongated classic kind of distance race going on around one turn. But Getaway Car, my top pick as well, by Curlin out of a Morning Line mare. Now, Morning Line, I did look this up. The longest race Morning Line ever won was a mile and an eighth. So I don't necessarily know about Getaway Car as we move forward, getting to the mile and a quarter of the Derby, even with Curlin on the top side. But I do think Getaway Car with Irad Ortiz Jr. riding, second start off the layoff. And the other thing about this one I like is the race at Sunland, the last one out, the Sunland Derby, got passed in the stretch and re-rallied to win that race by a nose over Caldera. So I think Getaway Car certainly gives Bob Baffert a very interesting bullet in the chamber here.
And we talked about John Hancock being scratched, but Brad Cox, as I get him and Bob Baffert confused here. Brad Cox does come back with another one, and one that we both agree in the second place of our selections. That's right next door to Getaway Car in the 7, Rapture, coming off a win against Maiden Special Weight Company at Oaklawn last time out. Won by 6.5. He added Lasix there in that spot. That after finishing second in his career debut, going a mile in December at Gulfstream Park. But very, very impressive effort by Rapture. Brad Cox absolutely loaded, just like Bob Baffert on this road to the Derby this year. This is going to be a big step up in company for the son of Uncle Mo. Don't know if he can necessarily get this better of Getaway Car in this spot, but I do think he is the clear second choice.
I agree. I think this one, especially with Flavien Prat in the saddle, is going to be very tough. Uncle Mo, the sire, out of a Bernardini mare, so again, a very strong lineage there as well, and Cox is hitting at 26%. Yeah. So, not much you can say wrong against Rapture except the relative inexperience of only 2 starts. Third choice for me, now I thought this horse, looking at this horse should have won like 7 times already if you look at just the basic facts. The 3, American Promise, Nick Juarez riding for D. Wayne Lucas. He's won his share of Triple Crown races, including the Preakness last year with Seize the Gray. And this horse is by Justify out of a Tappet mare. So the thought should be this horse will run not only all day, this horse will probably run all weekend. Yep. However, just one win at Oaklawn, going a mile and a 16th on December 29th. Prior to that, had hit the board twice with Maiden Company. Now has been in with the graded company in the last couple of races. Did get disqualified in the Southwest at Grade 3 on January 25th at Oaklawn. Then went over to Fairgrounds for the Risen Star and was 5th behind that very impressive front-winning win by Magnitude on February 15th. This horse to me is a puzzle. I mean, he could win this race. He could finish 9th. He could finish mid. I had to include him just based on some of the, the sire and the dam sire and the fact that Steve Wayne Lucas. But man, this horse is a mystery.
Very similar story to my third place selection as well, as I go to the 9 Render Judgment. This one is Son of Blame, of course, the Breeders' Cup Classic winner. Coming off an 8th place effort, he also came from that Risen Star. Started in the 9 hole there, just wide throughout. Never really posed a threat to the likes of Magnitude. Ended up finishing 8th, but prior to that, it was 3rd in the Gun Runner at Fairgrounds. I thought raced okay, pretty even. He saved some ground. I think he's got better pedigree. He's racing against some top-level company. Even going back to his 2-year-old campaign, he hit the board in 3 of 4 last year. I think he's going to need a little bit of help to get carried into it, but I think once you get beyond those top 2, I think there's a variety of different directions you can go. You're getting 12-1 on the Kenny McPeak trainee. I'll try Render Judgment in 3rd.
And you're getting Blinkers and Brian Hernandez Jr. on again. And, of course, he was Mystic Dan's rider last year. And one other thing about your 3rd pick there, the horses by Blame out of Barbara Gordon by Commissioner. I love stuff like that. I just absolutely love those little tweaks when they make that with the name and everything. So that really is very clever stuff with that horse. Just had to note that. My 4th choice in here is the 8 Authentic Gallop. Now, Authentic won the September Derby in 2020 during the COVID year, and this horse is out of a Victory Gallop mare. Victory Gallop, a Belmont Stakes winner. Tom Amoss trains. Javier Castellano has the ride, and this one was a winner at Oaklawn last time out with Optional Claiming Company there. Had broken the maiden at Oaklawn as well in December. Now they're coming here to Virginia to try to get some points to go to the Derby. This one's 10-1 on the morning line. I think this one could maybe do something nice at a price.
Getting 10-1 on my 4th selection as well. Omaha, of course, growing up in Peyton Manning land here in Indiana. Have to throw on Omaha. I actually like this horse a fair amount. He's going to need things to set up for him, and I think with the scratch of John Hancock, maybe not being able to set up an early duel with Getaway Car early, I think it's going to be a little bit tough for Omaha, but hopefully he can save ground. Raced at this 1.125 distance last time out at Aqueduct in the Withers, finished a good 3rd, saved ground on the turns, then got by a couple there in the lane. Willing to take a shot on this one again. Not one that's necessarily a threat to win, but he's hit the board in 5 of 6 lifetime, including both starts here at 3 in 2025. So I think underneath for a little price, I'll go with Omaha.
And that one's by Audible. So you got to like that. That one's out of a Kitten's Joy mare, so I'm interested to see if they don't necessarily fire with that one here if they go back to the turf, because the first start ever was at the turf, and this one ran 3rd at Delaware Park going back to last August. So a lot of interesting horses in here that, apart from that top 2 that we think kind of stand out, there's a very interesting field of 9 going to go postward at Colonial Downs come Saturday.
Absolutely. I don't know, beyond Getaway Car and perhaps Rapture, maybe not too many here that are on the true Derby trail, but maybe as we get into some of those summer stakes, some of these horses going to pop back up again, just trying to get some good stakes experience.
And don't forget, there's 2 other Triple Crown races
Absolutely.
to come. The Preakness and the Belmont follow. A lot of these horses that win these prep races, they come back in the Preakness and they show pretty good form for sure. So last week, by the way, we didn't even mention, last week you ran 2nd with Chancellor McPatrick. I was 3rd off a fantastic ride on Hill Road. So you're now standing at 11 points, and I am at 7 points, I believe. Is it 7 or 8 at this point? We'll have to do the research on that to make sure, because I'll take every point I can get at this point, but we'll see. Maybe we'll both get the 6-horse Getaway Car home on top this time around in the Virginia Derby.
Us and everybody else.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I like I said, I'm just trying to get respectable at this point. I'm not worrying about winning the contest for sure. Anyway, we have a great race this week with the Virginia Derby, and next week, if I'm not mistaken, we start the multiple prep races coming up, because we're going to have a couple of weeks of that too before we get to Louisville.
Yeah, and I want to remind everyone, too, with this Colonial Derby, this Road to the Derby race is part of our Fan Appreciation Weekend here at Hoosier Park this weekend, because we start racing here at Hoosier Park this weekend. weekend. 14 races both on Friday and Saturday. First post time here at Hoosier Park on Saturday. Keep in mind that's 6:15 p.m. We're doing away with the 7 p.m. starts on Saturdays. We're going to stick with that traditional 6:15 start. So get here early in the afternoon. Get your selection made for the Road to Derby on this Virginia Derby, and then stick around for some great racing here at Hoosier Park on Saturday.
Yes, indeed. It should be a great Saturday as we look forward to the $500,000 Virginia Derby on the Road to the Derby, part of the Road to the Derby Challenge. For Jacob Reinheimer, I'm Michael Chamberlain, wishing the best of luck to you all.